You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Today's question is from a gentleman I'll call Matthew. I am a Myers-Briggs ISTJ. I was recently denied a promotion and was told the decision had nothing to do with my technical ability or experience. I was told that I'm not proactive and not a team player. I am crushed, but also confused. I have done every task that was asked of me, working late and weekend hours to achieve and surpass goals. I cannot help but think the decision not to promote me is a personal one, but I have no idea what I could have done to create such a bad image. I've never received any negative feedback or recommendations for improvement in the 2 years I've been in my position. I'm not sure if I want to continue with my current organization. My question is this: is it common for an ISTJ to be accused of not being proactive and not being a team player? And what were some things I could have done differently not to be seen this way? This question has a lot of layers, so I'm going to break it down. The first part of this podcast will focus on reasons someone may or may not be promoted, and this part won't be related to the Myers-Briggs or type theory. I'll then talk in more detail about how ISTJs naturally tend to show up in the business world, as well as strategies ISTJ types can implement in order to forge better work relationships, be seen as the competent professionals they are, and generate buy-in from others. Being denied a promotion is a hard pill to swallow. It's easy for anyone to feel rejected, start questioning themselves or their ability, act out in anger, or go into an emotional tailspin. It's especially disheartening if the performance reviews were good, or if someone less qualified was chosen for the role. It's important first to take time to grieve, to scream obscenities, to throw things, cry, whatever you need to do to come to terms with your emotions. Decisions and actions taken when in turmoil often turn out badly, so take the time you need to move through the process and be in a good, level-headed place to strategize your next move. In your question, Matthew, you mentioned that you're not sure you want to continue with your current organization. One thing that you may find as a result of being denied a promotion is that it gives you perspective on what you really want. In my career counseling work, I've found that many of my clients ultimately felt liberated when they lost a promotion or job. They had permission to think about what they really wanted to do with their lives. This experience can be a catalyst for a career change for some people, and for others, it's an opportunity to analyze the situation from senior management's eyes. Management has reasons for making the decisions they do, and you may not agree with them. But when you're able to look at it from a place of logic, not emotion, it will be easier to see the truth. However, before you decide to job search, make sure you have your facts straight and a plan in place. Now, this next part may be difficult, but it's an important step to take to grow as a professional and practice active emotional intelligence. Take an honest look at what happened to lead up to the event of being denied a promotion, especially your own behavior, reactions, and relationships in the workplace. What could you have improved upon? Be honest with yourself. We all make mistakes, and it takes a truly savvy, self-aware person to not only admit what they did wrong, but take active measures to improve. As part of this process, I suggest getting the perspective of others whom you trust. Listen to what they have to say without getting defensive. Instead of offering excuses, reframe the experience. Act on the feedback you receive. Being laid off or being denied a promotion may not have anything to do with you, your capability, knowledge, or your work ethic. If you believe you were discriminated against unfairly, you have the option to seek counsel. But these types of allegations may be difficult to prove. Be aware that your team will be watching to see how you handle rejection and if you're able to bounce back gracefully with resilience. Like Matthew and many of you who are tuning in, I too was denied a promotion, more than once. I was also laid off from a job that I loved. I documented my experience in another podcast series, The Journey Forward, available on iTunes and my website, www.atopcareer.com. I've shared a number of tips to recover from job loss, and if you're going through a similar situation, I invite you to tune in. Now, let's talk about ISTJs at work. Please remember that each person is an individual in addition to having a Myers-Briggs type. Every person has his or her own unique strengths and challenges, and some of the following may or may not be true of every ISTJ. ISTJs tend to naturally communicate in a direct and straightforward, logical way. They are specific and attuned to details, and they're primarily task-focused and communicate as such. In other words, at work, ISTJ types are likely to communicate with others not to chit-chat about their weekends or to engage on a personal level, but to move a task along. As introverted types, they may not readily share information unless they are specifically asked to do so, but they will share if they see a practical need to do so. Their communication style is no nonsense, and they want clarity in work assignments. ISTJs typically excel in being organized, planning ahead, and accurately tracking their progress towards their goals. They take their responsibilities seriously. If they say they'll do something, they'll do it. ISTJs will be great at spotting flaws in arguments, missed details, and preventing the team from heading off in the wrong direction. These are all great qualities to have in a manager and a coworker. But back to Matthew's question. Is it common for ISTJs to be accused of not being proactive and not being a team player? To answer this question, let me mention 3 blind spots that are quite common among ISTJ types. Assuming they are always right, over-focusing on details and planning, and lack of expression. First, ISTJs can be pretty judgmental and stubborn people. Unhealthy or immature ISTJs have a my way or the highway approach at work, focusing on what they think is correct instead of listening to the viewpoints of others. A good leader doesn't forget to give praise when praise is due, shows appreciation, and takes the time to actively listen to and, when appropriate, incorporate the ideas of others. These aren't things that come naturally to ISTJs. The second potential blind spot for ISTJs is over-focusing on details and planning. Any asset can become a liability if it's overdone, and living in the weeds can be it for ISTJs. They may become so focused on getting the job done that they lose sight of the bigger picture. Couple this with their tendency to go over every possible scenario of what will or won't work in their heads, and the ISTJ may appear to be focused to the point of not appearing self-motivated. Additionally, because their natural inclination is to focus on what worked well in the past, they may be reluctant to try new approaches, i.e., not being proactive about the future. Third, in my opinion, this is often the biggest blind spot for ISTJs. They seem cold or aloof and have a low need for emotional expression. This can cause them to be misunderstood by others. ISTJs are naturally calm, cool, and collected, and unexpressive. In fact, ISTJs are such logical people that they may struggle to understand or express emotions or solve problems where emotions are involved. This can create the illusion that they're uncommunicative or unapproachable, i.e., not a team player. In all fairness, the ISTJ is just doing what he or she is supposed to do, following their to-do list and the tasks they're assigned to do. Others, whether they're coworkers or supervisors, may have trouble reading the ISTJ, and their lack of expression may be perceived as uncaring or disinterested. If you are an ISTJ type who can relate to these qualities, I'm going to share 3 tips that I want you to start doing today. By actively focusing on these strategies, you'll increase your value personally and professionally, and you'll be ready to take on the next challenge or opportunity when it comes your way. First, try to take some calculated risks. Now, this doesn't mean you have to spend your life cliff jumping or skydiving, but a gamble every now and then won't hurt. No risk, no reward, as the saying goes. If you're able to do this regularly, you'll be able to see the benefit of getting out of your box, exploring new possibilities, and, ironically, making more progress. And you'll be seen as a more proactive person. Just make sure your risks are things you're truly excited about. Second, pay attention to the needs of other people. Remember that not everyone approaches work the same way you do. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, it's very important to adapt yourself to the expectations of the people in charge, especially if they're different from you. Spend some time watching successful people in your office and try to emulate their behavior. Third, and most importantly, work on your emotional expression. Now, this is very important. Don't be fake, because this will only make things worse for you. Find ways you can be genuinely enthusiastic at work. Others will gradually feel more comfortable and welcome around you, and you'll see people start talking to you more and including you more in discussions. Make a conscious effort to greet people, smile, and chat with them. A little effort will go a long way. To sum it up, ISTJs who are moving up the career ladder need to first be clear about what they want in terms of the organization and position. They then need to get out of their comfort zones and expand their horizons, work on being more spontaneous, and connect with people more readily and naturally. Matthew, thank you for your question. To my listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Myers-Briggs Question Corner. If you have a question you'd like me to answer on air, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.